What's up everybody, I'm Private Hudson, and this is The Silent Age, a point-and-click adventure game released on Steam on May 29th, 2015. What initially intrigued me about this game was the premise. The year is 1972 and humanity becomes extinct in 2012. You need to travel through time to the future of 2012 and the present 1972 to prevent this extinction from happening. I love science fiction, time travel, and apocalyptic scenarios, so I was instantly drawn to this game. Unfortunately, the first hour of The Silent Age is pretty fucking boring. The game starts out with an unnecessary minute-and-a-half introduction sequence showcasing the boring shitty jobs the protagonist, Joe, has had. This sequence is nothing more than still images. An image of the year is displayed, followed by an image of Joe working somewhere. There's no other text, there's no narration, there's nothing aside from background music. This shit repeats for a minute and a half. I am not sure what the hell they were thinking here. When the game finally starts, we see that Joe has accomplished absolutely nothing in his life, as he is now a janitor for a research and development company called Archon. His first task is to go and talk to the CEO, and here we realize that unfortunately, well, for us the player, Joe appears to be partially retarded, as he is completely unable to communicate with the CEO's secretary.
Oh, there you are, sweetie. Mr. Hill's expecting you. Just walk right in. What's the matter, sugar? Cat got your tongue? Just get your hiney in there.
This behavior continues with the CEO as Joe is stuttering and not being able to form complete sentences, while the CEO keeps calling him Jasper mistakenly, but he doesn't give a shit because nobody gives a shit about Joe. Joe's janitorial partner has quit, and the CEO is telling him he's promoting Joe. It's obviously a false congratulation, as Joe is now responsible for his former partner's duties as well as his own, with no pay raise. Joe is given an access card for the sublevels, and he has to go clean that area. Upon arriving there, he notices that there is blood on the floor. Here's where we realize that this is an extremely simplistic point-and-click adventure game. If you try to leave the area without collecting a sample of the blood, Joe will actually say that and refuse to leave the room. Most of the game's puzzles are spelled out right for you. So Joe collects some blood on his handkerchief and returns to the upper levels. Once again, Joe is unable to speak to the secretary, and she assumes that this dumbass has cut himself. She treats him like a baby, tells him to clean up, and gives him a band-aid. The entire sequence in Joe's behavior is extremely cringeworthy. Joe returns to the sublevels and finds the person who is bleeding. It's an older man who has been shot. He tells Joe that he is from the future, and in the future, humanity is extinct. A miracle occurs and Joe is finally able to speak in complete sentences. The man gives Joe his time-traveling device and gives him the task to save humanity from extinction before dying from loss of blood and the gunshot wound. Upon leaving the room, Joe is immediately arrested. The next scene takes place in an interrogation room and has a cop going on for minutes with this prehistoric, overused good cop, bad cop routine, demanding to know more about the device that Joe is carrying. Joe ends up using the device and ends up in 2012, in the same exact room, the same exact location, with everyone around him dead. The game finally starts becoming a little more interesting, but this whole first sequence was just so dumb and stupid. Why was Joe even arrested? The man from the future died due to a gunshot wound. Is Joe carrying a gun? Obviously not. Not only that, but the time-traveling device? Get this. It's solar-powered. That is some very bad writing. The next part of the game has Joe trying to find the man in the present time. He decides to go to the hospital to find information about the body. This part is interesting as you have to travel back and forth between the present and the future to solve puzzles. For example, in the future, there is an overgrown plant blocking your path, so you go back to the present to kill it, then you can return to the future and continue along your path. The puzzles are very simple, and all items disappear after use, so there is pretty much no inventory management. However, I'm not a huge fan of puzzle games. I like adventure games for their story and characters, not so much for the puzzle solving, especially this game's, as it was mostly ridiculously easy. And there is no dialogue or any characters introduced throughout this section of the game. The Silent Age pretty much repeats itself over and over again. Okay, I reached a new area. Now I have to get to the next one, but it is blocked off. Alright, what do we do? Let's search the entire area in the present and see what we can find. Done. Alright, now let's search the same area in the future and see what we can find. Done. Okay. Now let's see what items we collected and how they can interact with the environment. Done. Alright, that opens up a new area. Let's go and repeat the same fucking thing again. I'm not saying this sort of simplistic gameplay is bad, but it just gets boring when there's nothing else going on. Once you finally do find a man from the future in the present day, the game picks up and becomes pretty good. You can read through his research notes and see how the extinction progressed. You can look through his home and see that he knew that the apocalypse would happen and see how he has prepared for it. The Silent Age turns completely around. There's finally an emphasis on story, dialogue, and characters. The game continues with the basic puzzle solving and time traveling in order to reach new areas, but at the same time there are more people to interact with, and you learn more about the story. This is how the game should have been from the start. The rest of it, including the ending, it's actually really good. It wasn't until I beat the game and then started doing more research on it for the purpose of this review that I realized that this was actually a mobile game released in 2 parts on iOS. The first part came out in 2012 and the second in 2014. The Steam version released last year is an updated version featuring voice acting, which is nothing special, but it's done decently. 20 Steam achievements, completely useless and unnecessary. Steam Cloud, which is okay if you're playing this on multiple devices with Steam. And the same artwork featured in Ultra HD, which is a lie. I looked up gameplay from the original iOS version, and obviously this one looks a hell of a lot better. Everything is at higher resolution, the animations are much smoother, and the game runs at a smooth 60 FPS. However, Ultra HD? This game is fucking letterboxed. The bottom of the screen is dedicated to the inventory and the top is dedicated for text. What the fuck do you mean Ultra HD? While I did enjoy the game, now that I know this was originally a mobile game, I am feeling to be even less harsh towards it, with the rest of the things that I will say about it. For starters, the Silent Age is only 3 hours long. It's fully linear, there are no branching paths, and there are no dialogue options. The locations don't seem realistic at all due to their small scale. Your place at work only has your janitor office on the entire floor. The CEO's floor only has his office, and the sublevel area has 2 doors that have 1 or 2 rooms past them. The same as with the hospital, there's 2 floors with 2 rooms each. The game simply fails in comparison with not only modern point-and-click adventure games, but even ones that are over 20 years old like Beneath a Steel Sky or even Beavis and Butthead Virtual Stupidity when it comes to locations and scale. Although that said, knowing that I'm essentially playing an upgraded port of a 4-year-old mobile game, it does put things into perspective. And because I did enjoy it, I'm not really gonna bash it. I'm not sure what the reasoning was to develop for the mobile platform first. I mean, the game runs on the Unity engine, which is multi-platform. I rarely play mobile games, and just about all of them are junk that have you pay real money to skip waiting timers. The only real issue that I do have with the Silent Age is that it doesn't remember your resolution setting, and you manually need to select it each time you launch the game. I don't know why. But yeah, I like the Silent Age. I like the story, the voice acting was decent, and I really like the minimalistic art style. The soundtrack was great too. It has a really dark, foreboding sound to it. Would I recommend this game? Yeah. Would I recommend that you pay full $10 for it? No. $10 for 3 hours of gameplay isn't worth it, especially since the first hour is pretty boring. I picked this up in a bundle in April this year. It's currently on sale on Steam for $1. The sale runs until the 26th of September. It's also available in the Indie Heroes 2 bundle on Bundle Stars. You can get this game along with 7 others for $3, though I don't know about the quality of the other bundled games, except for Super Motherload, which I reviewed earlier this year, and that game is fucking garbage. So yeah, that's the end of this review. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. See you folks next time.